Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. So we're going to get caught up, hopefully. This video is going to definitely get you caught up on Friday's testimony with Kayla. We're up to cross-examination on the recap here. And then she was back on the stand today. This is Monday as I record this. And then we had, three, maybe four other witnesses that were pretty short. They came up in the afternoon. So she took up most of the day today as well. So without further ado, let's get caught up on her testimony with cross-examination and all on Friday. And as always, trigger warning.
So I'm going to start with actually probably this investigation. And you were contacted by police sorry, a little mixed up, but you were contacted by police in December of 2021, right?
Yes.
But there had actually been information in the media about looking for Harmony Montomgery, right?
Yes.
And you'd actually seen things in the newspaper about Crystal Sorey wanting to find her daughter.
Yes.
And then when the police came to you, they wanted to talk to Adam about his daughter, right?
Yes.
And at that time, you and Adam were separated, right?
Yes.
You were living in the shelter.
Yes.
This was your second time at the Fit shelter, right?
Yes.
And Adam was in Maine, right?
Yeah.
And when they talked to you, you told them that as far as you knew, Adam had taken Harmony to his mother's, right?
Her mother's, yes.
I'm sorry, thank you. And you said that you thought Adam was in Maine?
Yes.
But you didn't give them a way to get in touch with him.
Right.
But you got in touch with him.
Yes.
And you said for him to come back to Manchester.
Yes.
You said that he needed to deal with this too.
Yes.
And you said that you were not dealing with it by yourself.
Yes.
And you said, this is not my fault.
Yes.
And Adam came when you contacted him.
Yes.
And he came to Manchester.
Yes.
But he came to Manchester with a woman.
Yes.
Kelsey Small.
Yes.
And you two had been separated since March of 2021.
Yes.
Actually, St. Patrick's Day, wasn't it?
Yes, that's when I left.
You left and you called the police.
Yes.
And Adam got arrested, right?
Yes.
And he was in jail for a while, right?
30 days, yes.
And you said he was going crazy, right?
Yes.
That he started going crazy and accusing you of all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
And he actually struck you.
Yes.
And you called the police.
Yes.
And you stayed with your mom for a little bit after that?
Yes.
And then you were back at the shelter?
Yes.
But you did have a place and the shelter was fine with you being there?
I didn't have a place.
You had a place at the shelter?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. And you contacted Adam?
Yes.
You contacted him quite a bit while he was gone, right?
Yes.
Because he was in jail for a bit and then he went to Farnham Center, right?
Yes, I gave him a ride. Our transportation drove him to the farm center.
And then he went to a sober house?
Yes.
And while at the sober house, you two communicated?
Yes.
But you thought he might be fooling around on you then?
Yes.
And you get mad at him?
Yes.
And you'd tell him he couldn't see the kids?
I don't remember that. is very interesting how she's trying to get her to, I think, screw around with her own testimony here. It's, she's jealous and that she would do anything to accuse her husband. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on Attorney Smith. She's hard to listen to, but she's sure trying to get Kayla going.
So sometimes you wouldn't let him see the kids, and sometimes you would.
I don't remember saying that he couldn't see the kids.
Okay. Sometimes you'd get mad at him.
Yes.
And you'd communicate your anger to him.
Yes.
And then sometimes you got jealous.
Yes.
And you'd communicate your jealousy to him.
But that I didn't know that he was with a girlfriend at those times.
Right. You just were jealous. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Whether it was Kelsey or not, you didn't know what was going on, but...
No, because he was accusing me, too.
Right.
So,
right. It was sort of a back-and-forth relationship between the two of you, right? And you'd get mad at him, or he might get mad at you, right?
Yes.
But when things were... but you were actually, both of you, sort of trying to get together, too, right?
Yeah, we were trying to have our family back together.
Yeah. You considered him your best friend when things were good.
Yes. He was the same way with me, too.
Right. You two were pretty connected when things were good, right?
Yes.
And sometimes even when things were not so good.
Right.
Pretty solid with each other.
Yeah.
And so when Adam showed up with this woman in December of 2021, when you called him and told him to come back, you didn't like her.
No.
I think you called her Thing.
Yeah.
But you needed to work with Adam to get through this investigation, right?
That's not why I was being nice to him. Was not because of this situation.
Okay. Okay. The police talked to you before you told Adam to come back, but they talked to you after you told Adam to come back too, right?
Yeah.
And you would tell the police that he took Harmony to his mother's.
Yes.
And one time they asked you to come in to the police station and talk to him.
Yes.
And you did go into the police station and talk to him, right?
Yes.
You went in voluntarily, right?
Yes.
You said that you didn't need a lawyer.
No, I never said that.
You said you'd talk to him without a lawyer, right?
I said I wanted a lawyer, but that didn't happen.
Oh.
But I felt like I was doing the right thing.
Because you wanted to do the right thing?
Yes.
So you went to the police station to do the right thing for the investigation.
Right.
And you went to the police station to do the right thing for Harmony.
Right.
And you went to the police station and told them that as far as you knew, Adam drove Harmony to Crystal's.
Yes.
So you went to the police station to do the right thing, which was to lie?
No, that's not what I said when I went to the police station without a lawyer.
Okay. Do you recall that after you talked to them for a very long time, they gave you a chance to pull your thoughts together and be alone and maybe write down what you wanted to say?
Yes.
And that you did take that time to write down what you wanted to say to them, right?
Yes.
And they came in and you handed them the note, right?
Yes.
And they read the note, right?
Yes.
And they read it out loud for the record.
Yes.
Right? And they had you sign the note, right?
Yes.
And in that note you said, I don't know what happened. No clue. I just know he left to bring her to meet her mom to give Harmony to her after he dropped me off at work in the morning.
Yes.
And you wrote, I'm done talking. And you wrote, a little bit more, and then you said, I can't help anymore. I'm sorry. I can't help you. Look at me, however, and I actually can't read it. To show you a copy of Exhibit A2 for ID and actually ask you what it says. Can you give me that word?
You can look at me, however.
And I'm asking you if you said this stuff, if you need to refresh your recollection, you can, okay?
Okay.
So you said, I'm sorry, I can't help. You can look at me, however. Think of me, however. You just need to get him to talk because I can't get him to say anything to me. He won't tell me anything. So he obviously did something and isn't saying anything to me. And if he isn't telling me, how am I supposed to help you? I'm done talking. And then it goes on a little more for other stuff that I won't say, okay?
Okay.
Is that what you wrote for him?
Yes.
And you were done talking, right?
And I remember it saying I want a lawyer.
You did, right? In
Yes.
that letter.
Yes.
And you said that you were done talking and you were getting your lawyer and you wanted to go home now, please, right?
Yes.
So, Your Honor, I'd like to offer this as a full exhibit.
Any objection?
So essentially, you were pointing the finger at Adam having done something wrong, not you, right?
Right.
And you were lying to the police about what happened, right?
Right.
And you were giving them a lie that pretty much gave you, made you look completely innocent.
Yes.
Okay. And then they came to you another time
Yes.
while you were at the Fit shelter,
Yes.
and they wanted to ask you about Adam, right?
Yes.
Because they actually saw you and Adam talking outside of the Fit shelter, and Adam had just walked away, and they came up, right?
I don't remember how that went, but I guess.
Okay. Pretty much right after Adam walked away, they walked up, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. When they told you that they wanted to talk about Adam, you just sort of smiled at him and walked away, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And when the officer asked you to come to the police department, you said you'd already told him everything, right?
Yes.
And that was a lie as well, right?
Yes.
And then during that interview, you also told them that you didn't understand why Crystal was saying she didn't have Harmony.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that, and what you told the police back then was that you didn't have a clue what had happened, right?
Right.
And again, you are distancing yourself so that you have no fault in this, right? They can't blame you.
That's not what I was doing. I was doing what I was told to do the whole
Okay.
time.
Okay. Well, Adam got arrested on January 5th, right?
Yes.
You got arrested on January 6th.
Yes.
You knew that Adam was arrested, right?
Yes.
And you were arrested for something that eventually became a theft charge, right?
Yes.
And after you were arrested, you were Incarcerated.
Yes.
You were incarcerated for several months,
Yes.
and you wanted to get out.
Yes.
You worked very, very hard to get out, right?
Yes.
You worked very hard to get into rehabilitation shelters and the like in hopes that you could get out to the shelter
Yes.
on bail.
Yes.
And it took a long time, right?
Yes.
I think it was May 6th you finally got out.
Yeah, it was 4 months.
Pardon?
4 months.
Okay. So May 6th is about right?
Yes.
I want to talk about some of the things going on while you were in jail, waiting to get out. Adam, by the way, you knew was not out on bail, right?
Right.
And you knew he could not get out on bail, right?
Right.
You had the ability to get out on bail, but he did not.
I didn't know he didn't have a chance to get out on bail. I
Okay,
didn't know what was going on with him.
okay. What do you mean you didn't know what was going on?
I didn't know what his situation was with either getting out or not getting out or trying to get out. I had no idea.
Okay. You were sort of following events while you were incarcerated, right?
Not really.
Okay. You were following what was going on with Adam while you were incarcerated, right?
Overruled.
I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember talking to people about the fact that Adam was still talking to Kelsey on the phone while he was incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you were saying, you know, I have ways of finding things out, right?
No.
Okay. We'll get back to that in a second. During that period of incarceration that you wanted to get out, you did not tell the police the truth of what happened to Harmony, right?
Right.
You didn't tell the police how Harmony died.
Right.
You didn't tell them when she died.
Right.
You didn't tell them anything truthful at all, right?
Right.
And then while you were in jail, you sort of thought about your own trouble and maybe how to get out of trouble, right?
Not just my own trouble, but okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to explain it.
You thought about missing the kids, you mean? Their trouble too, because they didn't have their mother?
Yeah, and Adam. I was still thinking about Adam too.
Okay. You were thinking about Adam, weren't you?
Yeah.
And while you were thinking about how to get out of trouble, you sort of wrote some of your thoughts down on paper about how to get out of trouble, right?
Not how to get out of trouble, just what I was thinking. Yes.
About what you wanted, well, you talked about betraying Adam, right?
Right.
To get what you wanted, right?
No.
Okay. I'm going to show you a copy of what is marked for ID as G10. Let's see if you recognize these writings. You finished?
Yeah.
Do you recognize those writings?
Yes.
And those are writings of your thoughts that you put to paper about what you wanted to betray Adam, right?
No. They are my thoughts. Yes.
Well, let's go. One of the things that you wanted was one last time with Adam, right?
Right.
You wanted one last time to maybe kiss him or make love.
Yep.
And what you didn't write was that you wanted protection from Adam, right?
Right.
What you didn't write was that you were afraid of Adam, right?
Right.
Because you didn't want protection from Adam, right?
I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay.
This is where she's trying to get her on the you were never truly scared of Adam. It's a bunch of crap, and you didn't write this in this jail letter that you were trying to get to law enforcement to make your deal.
You just wanted to be with him one last time before you, as you put it, betrayed him, right?
Yes.
And having one last time with Adam before you talked to the police, you felt like he would understand and he would love you back, right?
No, I'm thinking about the conversation that him and I had before
About?
the kids still having their mother when
Okay.
this situation occurs,
Right.
and that he would take everything
Yeah.
so that I could be with the kids.
Right. You two talked about that and what would happen, and you both agreed that you were the mother. You were more important to the kids, right?
Right.
That you were the mother of his children, right?
Right.
And you needed to be there for his children,
Right.
right? And you needed to be around more than he needed to be around.
No.
You actually wanted him to not be caught, right?
Yeah, I didn't.
Pardon?
I didn't.
And you wanted him to not be blamed for the death,
Right.
because he didn't do what you said he did.
He did do what he did.
Okay.
That was probably the best save that Kayla has made, because she's starting to see, well, I don't really know, actually. I don't know if she's that intelligent, but the point of the defense is to put doubt in every single word that comes out of Kayla's mouth, because we already know Kayla's a freaking liar. She just lies all the time. So she's trying to say, well then, all this stuff, how do we know what the truth is, if there's any truth at all involved? And she, of course, wanted her to slip and say, well, you're the one that killed Harmony. And she's like, no, yeah, that was Adam. So that, out of the few things that I've heard come out of Kayla's mouth, that's the only one that I might give her a point for.
Well, one of the things that you wanted, other than being alone one last time, was immunity. Immunity for everything, the charges you were facing and what you were about to say, right?
Right.
And it's what you were about to say about Adam, right?
Right.
You weren't going to say anything about you if you didn't have to, right?
I was going to say everything.
Okay. And you wanted the kids in your life. You didn't want to lose custody of your kids, right?
Right.
And you wanted treatment, right?
Right.
You wanted mental health counseling, right?
Right.
And immunity from everything. Where did you learn about immunity? For Adam told you about immunity?
Yeah.
And this is things that you're going to talk to your lawyer about?
Yes.
Okay. and you thought that you want to see what the AG has to offer, but you don't want to end up being screwed yourself by them, right?
Right.
You didn't want them to play games with you and then you would get fucked in the end, right?
Yeah, because that's what Adam said that they would do.
Okay. It was all Adam, right?
I am my own person, but yes.
Okay. And you said, I am so fucked, I should just, I don't know, for Harmony, for me, for my kids, so you actually thought, maybe I will help with the investigation for Harmony.
Yeah.
And one of the things is you were noticing that Seamus was having a hard time, as well as Declan, and you didn't want them to get adopted out, right?
Right.
And it's one of the things that you talked to Adam about when you two agreed not to talk about Harmony's death, was that people would take the children.
Right.
And you didn't want people to take the children, right?
Right.
And you would rather hide Harmony's death than have the state come and take the children from you, right?
That's not what I was thinking.
Okay. But you two talked about it and how important it was for you to be there with the kids and for them not to take the children, right?
Yes.
And it is a conversation that you and Adam had after you discovered Harmony's death.
Yes.
And it is something that you agreed to after you discovered Harmony's death, right?
Yes.
And Adam did agree to take the fall after you discovered Harmony's death and had that conversation.
Yes.
And as you said, when you two were in sync, it was about as tight as it could be, right?
Right.
Best friends, do anything for the other.
Right.
That note was your thoughts for what you wanted your attorney to talk to the AG about, right?
Yes.
And that note was found in your cell, hidden like between the mattress and the frame?
No, it was in a book.
Okay. But it was found during a regular cell search, right?
Yes.
And the COs asked you about that note.
Yes.
And you said that you wanted to talk to the AG.
Yes.
And when you hoped to talk to the AG, those were the conditions that you wanted to get.
Yes.
And you did not have a conversation with the AG in January, right?
No.
Didn't have a conversation with the AG in February, right?
No.
Didn't have a conversation with the AG in March, right?
No.
But you did get a subpoena for the grand jury.
Yes.
And you understood what the grand jury was.
Yes.
And you did get out May 6th, right? That
Yes.
was before the grand jury, right?
Yes.
And you still didn't talk to the AG before you went to the grand jury.
Right.
By the way, I would like to have that introduced as a full exhibit. That would be G for ID. Coach?
Whenever you're ready.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I couldn't do. So in any event, you, after that note was seized, you asked to talk to the AG. You didn't talk to the AG before getting subpoenaed to the grand jury, but you did get out, right?
Yes.
And before you got out, you actually filed for divorce, right?
Yes.
You filed for divorce in March.
Yes.
And you were done, right?
As hard as it was, yes.
Okay, done. He was in your past now.
Not really, but
Okay. But your future was about you now, right?
yeah, I tried.
Okay. And you went to the grand jury in May of 2022.
22.
May 20th, actually, right? That sound right?
I didn't know it was in the same month that I got out, but I thought it was around that time, between May and June.
Okay. If I showed you a copy of the front of the transcript of your testimony, would that help refresh your recollection about when it was?
Yes.
Okay, and this is... States, Defendant's Exhibit B for ID. Does that refresh your recollection? Yes, please feel free to check through the transcript to make sure it's correct and that it's you.
I remember I remember going to this, yes.
Okay. And looking at it doesn't refresh your recollection about the exact day, but it seems like around the...
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you went to the grand jury, you had no immunity, right?
Right.
You had no agreement with the state.
Right.
And about 2 years, over 2 years had passed since Harmony had died.
Yes.
And over 2 months had passed since you wrote that note that is Exhibit G of the conditions that you'd like to get for, quote, betraying Adam, right?
Yes.
And so you went to the grand jury,
Yes.
and you were advised that you had to tell the truth, right?
Yes.
They actually swore you in like you were sworn in here.
Yes.
And there was a prosecutor there asking you questions.
Yes.
And there was a group of people, not in this configuration, but probably even more people there that were the grand jury.
Yes.
And you were not particularly happy with Adam when you went to the grand jury, right?
I was stuck in my head.
Okay. Well, you lied to the grand jury, right?
Yes.
Even though you swore an oath to tell the truth.
Yes.
And not only did you swear an oath to tell the truth, but you were actually given, I think what they called ground rules. Do you remember being given some of the rules of testifying in front of the grand jury?
Yes.
And you were told that you could refuse to answer any question if it would incriminate you, right?
Yes.
And you understood what incriminating you would mean, right?
Yes.
And that meant if it would get you in trouble.
Yes.
And you were told that incrimination was pretty much if your answer would risk you being charged with a crime.
Yes.
And you were also told that if you did answer, you had to answer truthfully.
Yes.
But you were also told that if you had an answer that got someone else in trouble, you had to answer that.
Yes.
And you were asked if you had any questions about those rules, right?
Yes.
And you were also told that if you had a question about any of the questions,
Yes.
meaning if a question might incriminate you or not, you could take a break, step outside, and talk to your lawyer, right?
Yes.
Your lawyer wasn't allowed in the courtroom, but he was available to you, right?
Yes.
And if you thought that a question might get you in trouble, you could go out and talk to your lawyer.
Yes.
And you were also told that you could get charged with perjury if you lied to the grand jury.
Yes.
You were told that not only could you get charged with perjury if you lied to the grand jury, but you could get charged with perjury for each and every lie.
Yes.
And that a perjury charge could bring a sentence of 3.5 to 7 years
Yes.
in prison.
Yes.
And that if you lied more than once, you could get more than one sentence of 3.5 to 7.
Yes.
You could get a sentence of 3.5 to 7 for every lie you told to the grand jury.
Yes.
And you lied to the grand jury.
Yes.
And you lied more than once.
Yes.
You lied more than twice.
I only got 2 counts of it, so I don't remember lying more than twice.
You do not recall lying more than twice to the grand jury.
Right.
You think you only lied twice to them.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go through what you talked to the grand jury about. They actually talked to you. The prosecutor had this note.
Yes.
The grand jury, right?
Yes.
And I couldn't tell. Was it this note that was handwritten by you, or was it a copy of it?
It was a copy of it.
Okay. And he read some and had you read some of the note out loud to the grand jury so he could ask you questions about it, right?
Yes.
And he asked you what you meant by thinking about betraying Adam, right?
Yes.
And you said you were thinking about, that he hurt Adam, Harmony, right?
Yes.
Because he had actually only been arrested on June 5th for second-degree assault to Harmony.
Yes.
And you said that betrayal sort of referred to that. You were going to betray him on that.
Yes.
Okay. Because you said that you didn't know what happened to Harmony, that you had no idea.
Yes.
That was a lie.
Yes.
And you said you thought Adam hurt her, but you didn't know what happened to her.
Yes.
That was a lie.
Yes.
And that was a lie that protected you, but pointed the finger at Adam, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked about physical abuse by Adam,
Yes.
and you said he spanked her a couple of times when she wasn't listening or something, but it wasn't a lot.
Yes.
Was that a lie?
No.
And when they asked, well, what is it that you're talking about betraying him, you said, well, he verbally abused her by putting her in a corner and spanking her.
Yes.
Was that a lie?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's not the whole truth, Kayla. So that's sort of a definition of a lie, or definitely deception. That's not what Adam did at all. So you were sugarcoating every single bit of it. You were sugarcoating it, and you were protecting Adam at the grand jury. At the grand jury, hearing. You were saying, oh, you're mad at him, but you're still protecting him. And you can't do both. You can't tell the truth and still protect Adam. It doesn't work that way.
You told the grand jury that the last time you saw Harmony was 2 days after Thanksgiving, 2019.
Yes.
Was that a lie?
Yes.
You told them that Adam dropped you off at work because he was bringing her to her mother's.
Yes.
Was that a lie?
Yes.
And you said all the kids were in the car, you were going to work, and everybody was fine.
Yes.
Was that a lie?
Yes.
You said that you worked in the morning. You knew it was, they asked you about your shift, and you said it was 6 to 2 at Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yes.
And that was the truth for when you worked at Dunkin' Donuts, but it was a lie for 2 days after Thanksgiving, right? You didn't work at Dunkin' Donuts 2 days after Thanksgiving.
Right.
And that...
Yeah, she was telling the cover story that they had agreed on, or Adam told her to tell. So, yeah, the grand jury heard her cover story. And the cover story had little itsy bits of some of the information in there, but about when she last saw Harmony and the fact that Harmony was brought to Crystal, lies. All lies.
That was one of the lies that you got charged with.
Yes.
Okay. But you had lied before that, right? To the grand jury already.
Yes.
And then you also said the day that you were working on at the Dunkin' Donuts, and that was your second charge.
Yes.
So you got charged for lying about the shift that you worked at Dunkin' Donuts, and you got charged for lying about...
It was the location.
The location, not the
Yes,
day.
yes.
Okay. The location of Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yes.
But not all those other lies that we've already talked about. You didn't get charges for them, right? And when you told the grand jury that you were working at Dunkin' Donuts that day, the prosecutor actually gave you a hint. He said, "Are you sure?" And you said, "Yeah," right?
Yeah. Yes.
And he said, "Take a minute and think because we had the records," right?
Right.
And you repeated the lie anyway.
Yes.
And, but you knew that they knew at that point that you might be lying.
Yes.
You knew that you might be getting caught.
Yes.
And you didn't know what to do.
No, I did not.
So you just continued in your lie.
Yes.
And so you said that you had a conversation with Adam, and he told you a day or two before taking Harmony to her mother that he was going to do that, right?
Yes.
And that was a lie?
Yes.
And you said that you figured he gave her to her mom because her mom, Crystal, had a place.
Yes.
You didn't figure he gave her to her mom.
No.
You knew that she had died,
Yes.
and she had died in the car.
Yes.
She died in the car with you,
Yes.
and you knew it.
Yes.
And so when you said you're trying to convince the grand jury that you're telling the truth, right?
Right.
Because every time you lie to them, you are subject to 3.5 to 7.
Right.
And so you want them to believe you.
Right.
And then you tell them that one of the reasons that you didn't think about what was going on with Harmony was because you had a lot of stuff going on with your son.
I don't remember that.
Okay. You said that one of the reasons that Adam brought Harmony to her mom was because she had already been through so much with the state that he didn't want her to live in the car anymore, and she could live in a better place with Crystal.
Yes.
And that, again, was trying to get the grand jury to believe your story.
Yes.
And that was a lie.
Yes.
And you said Harmony was a normal kid, right?
Yes.
And that was not a lie.
No.
You said that she had issues like anybody else,
Yes.
and that was not a lie.
No.
And you said that you actually, when Adam came back without Harmony, you actually asked, did you take Harmony to Crystal, like you said, and he told you he had.
Yes.
And that was a lie.
Yes.
You told the grand jury you didn't think it was strange that Adam didn't buy Harmony birthday cards or talk to Crystal about Harmony, right?
Right.
And they asked you why, and you said it was because you had your own issues with your eldest son, and with all that you and Adam were going through, you weren't thinking about Harmony or your eldest son.
Right.
And that is a son that is not of you and Adam, right?
Right.
That is a son that you were also visiting.
Yes.
See, this was the first I heard during this testimony that Kayla has another child, a son from another father. It's not Adam. So she's got 3 children with Adam and 1 older child with another guy. Yeah. She should not be having children or being anywhere near any children. And she's not going to be able to go near her 3 with Adam, that's for sure.
And there was a lot going on with your son. Adam had a lot going on with Harmony, and so you just didn't think about all those things because it was too chaotic.
Yes.
And so while some of that might be true, that certainly wasn't why you weren't thinking about Harmony, or about Adam not staying in touch with Harmony, right?
Right.
Because you knew Adam was dead, right? Harmony was dead, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And so you just sort of made that up as a reason why things are going on in your head, so something that would be strange to other people wasn't strange to you, right?
Right.
It just sort of popped into your head. This is a good reason to give the grand jury to try and convince them I'm telling the truth.
Right.
But it was from a real life detail, right? That was going on in your life with your eldest son.
Yes.
And you told the grand jury that Adam had been violent to you, so you believed that he had been violent to his daughter.
Yes.
But you hadn't seen anything.
Right.
And you told them that you were under the assumption that whole time that Harmony was with her mother.
Yes.
Another lie.
Yes.
It's amazing that they only charged her for 2 lies. See, this is where Carolyn Smith made her best points, in my opinion, going through this grand jury stuff. But see, the state already knows this stuff, but it's all true. And she's trying to show the jury that Kayla is a big, fat, stinking liar, and she'll do anything to save her own ass. And that's true. That's absolutely true. But did she kill Harmony? No. I don't believe for a second that she did it. I believe she was complicit in the act. I believe she didn't do a damn thing. And I believe exactly that she's just a piece of crap. But yeah, she did not kill Harmony. And I really am praying that the jury sees that she's just a lying piece of crap, but she's not the killer.
You told the grand jury, obviously, you were thinking he did something wrong, but you didn't want to think about that, right?
Right.
And you said because You had the other kids too, right?
Right.
You had other stuff to think about.
Right.
When the prosecutor asked you, do you think it's a good possibility that Harmony's not around anymore? You said that could be a possibility, right?
Right.
You didn't tell them that you knew she was dead,
Right.
right? You didn't tell them that you were there when she died.
Right.
And that's kind of a lie by omission, right?
Yes.
It's like not telling them something to send them down the wrong road, right?
Right.
And when they asked you if you remembered any more about the day that Adam drove off with Harmony, you told them what you remembered. Seamus was 2 and Declan was 11
Months.
months. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked if you remembered anything Adam said, and you said, no, not that I can. You sort of let it trail off, right?
Right.
You were asked if you were done with Adam at the time that you were testifying, right?
Right.
You said, are you done with him? And you said yes.
Right.
And are you saying that was a lie?
Yes.
Okay. And you told them that you kept insisting that all you knew was that Adam drove off with Harmony, and that was all you knew.
Yes.
And that was a lie.
Yes.
And that is protecting you.
And Adam.
It's actually pointing the finger at Adam, right?
No.
Okay.
Not
What?
when it's the lie.
Okay. Because you told them that you thought Adam must have done something wrong with Harmony, right?
Right.
And you were pointing the finger at Adam, right?
Right.
And you were protecting you.
Right.
Okay. And when the subject of the items that Harmony had, you told him that Harmony had a sports cup with pink flowers, right?
I don't remember telling them that. They showed me a picture of it.
Oh, okay. Do you remember telling them that?
I just remember the picture.
Did you tell them that she was wearing Nike sneakers
Yes.
and that she was wearing a Star Wars hoodie?
Yes.
And you talked to the jury with a straight face about remembering what she was wearing, right?
Yes.
Even though the Star Wars hoodie is what you cut off of her body in the shower at Union Avenue.
Right.
Okay. And you didn't have any problem talking about that to the grand jury, that that's what she was wearing, right?
Right.
But you did have a problem telling the grand jury the truth, that you were cutting off her clothes in the shower at Union Avenue.
Right.
Woo! See, like I said, Attorney Smith makes some of her best points and puts questions about Kayla's credibility right here. This is where, on Friday, I was cringing because I thought, yeah, man, this is not looking good. Kayla is their key witness for the state. The jury doesn't believe her that Adam killed his daughter. I mean, that's kind of it, you know? And she is a liar, and all the defense has to do is have one person believe that they have any doubt that Kayla may have been the one to kill Harmony. One juror, that's all they need.
And you said the last time you saw Harmony, she was happy.
Yes.
And you had no problem with that lie to the grand jury, right?
Right.
And the last time you saw Harmony, you thought she was asleep, but she was dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Do you remember at the end of your direct testimony, the prosecutor asked you to look at this jury?
Yes.
And he asked you, did you kill Harmony? And you looked at this jury and you said no?
Yes.
Do you remember that the prosecutor at the grand jury asked you to look at the grand jurors?
Yes.
And he asked you to tell them what happened to Harmony, and you said you didn't know?
Yes.
So looking at jurors while you're lying doesn't change the lie, right?
Right.
So you also told the grand jury that neither Adam nor anyone else asked you to lie about what happened to Harmony, right?
Right.
And that lie that you told the grand jury, you told them freely, right?
Yes.
And it was a lie that you and Adam came up with when you didn't want DCYF in taking your kids or blaming either of you or anything like that, right?
Right.
And that lie protected you and let the investigation focus on Adam.
Yes.
You also told the grand juror that when you contacted Adam and told him to come back to Maine, and he came back to Maine, you said that once there, Adam said, tell them I brought her to her mother, right?
Yes.
And that was sort of the truth, right?
Yes.
As he said, you'll be okay, just stick with the story, right?
Right.
You didn't have to worry.
Right.
He would be there for you.
Right.
One of the, in the grand jury, unlike this jury, the individual jurors were allowed to ask you questions, right?
Yes.
And so you not only had a prosecutor asking you questions, you had individual grand jurors asking you questions, right?
Yes.
And you lied to them, right?
Yes.
You told them that you were actually feeling scared for Harmony at some point, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
She didn't feel scared for Harmony. She felt scared for her own self. I'm not even sure that she was ever scared for her two boys. Her 2 and 11-month-old in that back seat. So she was only scared and thinking about herself. That's pretty much Kayla in a nutshell. She worries about Kayla, and whatever else, well, let the chips fall as they may.
You still have that grand jury testimony there?
Yes.
And I'm going to point you to page 64, and this is to refresh your recollection. If you would check out, it's about halfway down the page that the conversation starts, but you can check before that to make sure, and on to the next page. So, when you were talking about meeting up with Adam when he came back from Maine and he told you to tell them that he took Harmony to her mother, you were actually asked about the fact that the investigation is going on, right?
Yes.
And you told this jury that you had actually seen Crystal on the news talking about her missing daughter, right? I'm sorry, not at the grand jury today, to this jury.
Yes.
And when, in light of that, when Adam said, I took her to her mother, do you remember being asked at that point again, did it make you wonder what really happened to Harmony? And you said, yeah, it did, right?
Yes.
And do you recall being asked if you were scared for Harmony at that point?
Yes.
Telling the grand jurors that you were scared for her.
Yes.
And you were telling the grand jurors this at a time that you knew that she was dead.
Yes.
And you insisted you didn't know what happened to her, right?
Right.
Now, these are several more lies that you've told the grand jury, right?
Right.
And
Yes, Carolyn Smith. Kayla is a big, fat liar. That's very clear. I think everyone has gotten that point. And that's the hard thing about dealing with criminals. You have to make a deal with one to get another. Kayla's a piece of crap, but they needed to reel in her monster husband. Thus, she got a deal. And unfortunately, this entire trial almost completely is on her shoulders, to, especially with the defense saying that she's the one that did it. It's a big situation here, and we all want, well, besides the defense team anyway, all we want is justice for Harmony. And that would come in locking up Adam Montgomery and throwing away the key forever.
you talked to this jury about Adam in the spring of 2020. Accusing you of things and punching you.
Yes.
And you told the grand jury that he punched you 2 times, right?
It was more than that.
Okay.
But yes, I did.
And you told them that you left Adam because you saw abuse as a kid and you didn't want your kids surrounded by that stuff.
Yes.
And that's when you left Adam in March of 2021, right?
Yes.
But you actually left him also in April or in the spring of 2020 for a very short period of time, right?
I don't remember that.
You don't recall leaving with the kids for a couple of times in the spring of 2020?
No.
Okay. Because the spring in 2020 is when you started talking about the first time that Adam started thinking weird things were happening, right?
Yeah, but I didn't leave him. We still lived in the same. We just moved to the Union Street apartment building.
Okay. And you didn't just leave for a bit and go to a friend's for a day or so?
No.
Okay.
I remember I left for a couple hours with the kids, but I went back to the house. I went back to the apartment.
Okay. So one of the times that he was feeling like there were cameras and stuff, you just had to get away from him, right?
He fell asleep, so I took the kids and left.
Yeah. Because he was acting very strange.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk about June 3rd and your interview with the police. You certainly didn't know that day that you would be arrested when you walked in for your check-in, right?
Right.
And on that day when you walked in and got arrested on your check-in, you didn't know if you would be able to walk out.
Right.
They might hold you in jail again for perjury.
Right.
Because it's a pretty serious offense, right?
Yes.
And you knew that when you raised your hand and swore an oath to the grand jury that if you lied to them, it would be a very serious thing.
Yes.
And so you were kind of concerned that you may not be able to get back out on bail when you got arrested.
Yes.
And you said you were ready to talk.
Yes.
You said you wanted to give a statement, right?
Right.
And you did not have an agreement when you said that, right?
Right.
You did not have any negotiation when you said that, right?
Right.
The AG had not actually met up with you at all when you said that, right?
Right.
And you wanted to make sure that you got out as soon as you could, right?
Right.
And so your attorney was called,
Yes.
and there was a sort of agreement reached before you gave your statement, right?
Right.
And you didn't get immunity for crimes, right?
Right.
And you didn't get future immunity for any crimes that you might commit.
Right.
But you did get an agreement that whatever you said that day couldn't be used against you.
Right.
And that they would look at what you said that day, and if they wanted to use it, then you might be able to reach an agreement.
Right.
And so that wasn't the immunity from everything that you had wanted, right?
Right.
That wasn't the no-time deal that you had wanted, right?
Right.
That wasn't the ankle monitor that you had wanted, right?
Right.
And there was certainly no guarantee or conversation about you and your future life with your children.
Right.
But you knew they had you solid on the perjury, right?
Right.
You were never getting around that one, right?
Right.
And so you decided that this would probably be the best that you could do to get as few consequences for your actions as possible.
Yes.
Are you okay?
My head hurts. I'm like having a migraine.
Do you need to stop? May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And this is where Friday basically ended. Whether or not Kayla truly had a migraine, I don't know. It's possible. And we don't know her medical history as far as that's concerned. But irregardless, testimony stopped, and honestly though, they have to go on the side of caution, and I'm sure They don't want, you know, mistrial, any kind of issues. So whatever. So that's where Friday's testimony ended. And then, of course, it picked up today on Monday, which I will get to in the next video. So Friday, basically, the cross-examination really threw some wrenches as far as Kayla's credibility. And while the defense doesn't have to prove a damn thing, their game plan is to show the doubt. Again, show the doubt that Adam did it and that maybe Kayla did it. So, if nothing else, as much as I am not a fan of Attorney Smith, as much as I'm not a fan of hers, I have to say, besides the continuous questions and then the yeses and nos and the rights and whatever she does with Kayla, she, did a good job with what she was seeking out to do, which I believe she was seeking to throw the questions about Kayla's credibility. Bottom line, that's it. And again, just one juror needs to go, was it Adam or was it Kayla? That's it. That's all that's needed. Hopefully, it doesn't come down to that. But all right, guys. So that's the end of this one here for Friday. I apologize for being a little bit behind on the recaps. Like I said, this is a lot going on. Once I get Monday's done going through Kayla's testimony, and like I said, there's only like 3 or 4 witnesses after her. It shouldn't be as long to get them up. Going through Kayla's testimony has just been a lot, and it's a lot to go through. And hearing it once and then going through it a second time, yeah, it's a lot. So let me know what you guys think of the trial so far in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.